G'day, welcome to Down Woodworks, and very likely my last video for the year. I haven't been very busy on YouTube lately, and there has been a reason for that. And a couple of days ago I did my very first story on YouTube, and basically said that I would give everybody a rundown of what's been going on and what's been happening with me. So the reason for me not being very active on YouTube has got to do with an injury that I have. I suppose I wouldn't call it an injury, it's more of a condition. I've got a disc degeneration in my neck, which is pinching on the nerve which runs down my right arm. So for the last 3 months I've had just strong chronic nerve pain in my right arm, and it's not always there, but it just depends on what I'm doing and the position that I'm in. So like right now I've got pretty bad pins and needles in my arm, but like I said, so certain things trigger it, and one of those things, or probably the thing that triggers it the most, is sitting down at the computer using the computer. So basically I can't use the computer for more than a minute, 2 minutes, and as you can imagine, that's basically completely stopped me from editing video. The good thing is that standing up, being active and moving around actually is a bit therapeutic for it. So luckily I've been able to continue in the workshop, continue making and carry on as normal, doing that sort of stuff. And I have been doing videoing as well of that stuff, but the problem is I can't sit down at the computer and edit it into a video, and we all know what editing is like. It's a chore and it's hours of work. So I'm not rich or famous enough yet to employ a video editor and try to convince my kids to do it for me. They're not interested, so we'll see what happens. I have had some treatment for it. The last thing I had was a cortisone injection in my neck at the nerve root. That was meant to basically calm down the inflammation and help. Truth is, it hasn't helped. It's controlled it a little bit, but like I said, those certain activities, it hasn't helped at all. So if I sit down, even driving, so it's more those sedentary types of things. If I sit at the computer or even sometimes driving the car, it just goes off, and so I can't do that. So anyway, I'm hoping that to be honest, I'm not sure what the next step is for it. It may come down to surgery, but I don't really want to go that far. So we'll see what happens, hoping that it sort of calms down and in the new year, and I can get back into doing some video editing. People who follow me on Instagram would know that I've still been pretty busy over there with stories, because as you know, it's really simple doing stories. Basically there's no editing. I just film something and then post it up as a story. That's really simple. So that has been good for me to keep in contact with everybody, is using Instagram stories. But I basically just want to talk about what I've been doing in the workshop. Like I said, I have been busy, so I have been doing quite a lot of stuff. Finished a couple of photo frames for a friend. I don't video when I do photo frames anymore, because I have actually got 2 videos in my back catalogue about doing frames. So if you're interested in them, go and check them out. So I made a couple of photo frames. I did a little bit of antique restoration for family. What else am I doing? I'm doing another cutting board for my son, or serving tray actually. It's not going to be a cutting board, serving tray. So I'm doing another serving tray. This is the very last piece of blackwood I have from that log that I milled myself. So that's been awesome, that I've got so many projects out of it, and the fact that I've milled it myself just gives you the extra level of satisfaction. So as you can see there, I'm doing a little bit of resin filling of some cracks. I'm only halfway through that, so that's one thing that's on the go. What else is happening? I'm not sure if you can see it very well there, but I've got all these scraps here. As you can see, I'm just laying them out, just trying to get some sort of order what's going to happen is I'm making a clock for my mum. So I want to make it out of like a cutting board style with all the different pieces laminated together. So as you can see, these obviously aren't going to sit like that. I'm thinking of ripping them down because I want the width, that width there instead of that width there. I want it like that. So yeah. So that's what that is. What else has been happening? Oh, the TV unit, the big TV unit that I was refurbishing. Part of a whole collection of furniture, actually belongs to my sister. I did say I think that I probably wouldn't video the TV cabinet because I thought it was going to be exactly the same as what I did with the coffee table and the side table, but it didn't work out that way. I did actually film that renovation, but it was very different because the TV unit had an internal structure where all the drawers were, and that was pretty crappy. The way it was built, it was built with basically sheer quality ply, and the whole unit wasn't built to consider timber expansion. Sorry, Samurai, it does exist. Yeah, the two end panels on the unit had completely pulled themselves apart and cracked through the middle because it wasn't built for expansion. So yeah, so I basically ended up rebuilding half of the unit. I got rid of those crappy, I'll show you what it had. It had these crappy, horrible, cheap runners for the drawers. So I got rid of them completely and put in, the roller drawer runners, the full extension drawer runners. So that was really good, and yeah, that thing turned out amazing. Yeah, really nice. What else? What have I been doing? I had a bit of a hiccup, not a hiccup, but a delay doing that TV unit because I needed to surface plane the top like I did on the other items, but my old router died. The old soft start variable speed router that I had died, and I wasn't comfortable using my big round surfacing bit with my other router, which is now permanently in my router table, which is good because it's just a single speed 0 to full in split second. So yeah, didn't want to use it for that. So I was on the lookout for a new router. I had a couple in mind. I was looking at the Makita 2100 watt router, but I'm not sure what was going on with the pricing of that. Maybe Makita controls the pricing somehow, I don't know. But no matter where I shopped, which store I went to or online store, the price was always exactly the same, $549. I looked at the Hitachi 2000 watt, and I was almost going to buy that one. It was about $460. And then I went and had a look at Carbotech. It was around about the sales time. If you remember, about a month ago or a few weeks ago, there was the big sales were on. Anyway, just happened to go to the Carbotech site, and they had this beast here, the Triton router. It was originally $499 on their website, but at the sale time they heavily discounted it down to, I think I got it for about $420. So that was enough for me. I snapped it up. This thing is a beast. It's actually 2400 watt, so it's bigger than the other two. And yeah, so far very nice. I've only used it a couple of times, so I'm happy with it. I'm sure over time, using it more and more, I will, hopefully like it even more. So that's what's been happening with that. What's happening in the future? Look, there's lots and lots of projects on the cards. I've got people asking me, mostly family, but I don't mind as long as I'm building something. It's all good. Yeah, a lot of things still to do. So I will, like I said, I will continue videoing everything I do. What I can share on stories, I will, but I am videoing with the intention that I can get back to editing and putting out some YouTube content. One thing I will do is I might take you for a quick little tour around the workshop. and just show you the changes that I made very recently. I'm really happy with it. It's given me a heap more room in my workshop. So yeah, I'll just take you for a tour around. You will notice one thing. I'm attempting to do this video in one take only because obviously I can't do any editing. So yeah, so that's why it's just the way it is. It's going to be one take only. So I'm going to walk around and grab the camera and show you around the workshop. Yeah, and the whole intention of this is basically just to avoid having to edit the video. That way I can get it out. Otherwise I was concerned that I wouldn't get something out before the end of the year. So I'll just walk around and I'll just grab the video or the camera now. So what I did, the biggest and most significant change I made to the workshop, which I'm really happy with, is I removed the dust extractor. If you remember, the dust extractor unit sat all in that area there. Now what I've done is I've moved that outside of the workshop. If we go and have a look here, if you can see in between there, you can see that pipe exits out that wall. Now just on the other side of that wall is the dust extractor unit. There's the control box, and there's all the pipe work going around the workshop. Okay, so that has been the biggest and best decision I made, because what that enabled me to do was the jointer. As you can see now, the jointer sits over there against the wall. I've always wanted to have the jointer against the wall, and I've finally been able to do it. Those of you may remember that the jointer used to sit right in the middle of this walkway, and now that's completely empty. And yeah, just love the extra room I've got. So that was the probably the most major thing I did, was move that and the dust extractor. Also what that enabled me to do was, sorry, I've just tripped over something. What that enabled me to do was, you can't notice it because it's in the same position, but the table saw has been moved forward and across a little bit to give me a little bit more room over there. So yeah, so I'm just so much happier with this. And also you may remember there was a bench against that door. Now that was meant to be my workbench, but I never ever used it as my workbench because it was all the way over here. And I mean, just the way things work out, I was always using my outfeed table as my workbench. So I thought, well, it just makes sense to move that workbench and put it over there and use it as both workbench and outfeed table. So that's what I did. And as you can see, that's it there. The only thing is I can't sit down at that. Well, it's uncomfortable to sit there now because I used to have my legs under the outfeed table. This I can't do that. So I'll have to just stand now when I talk to you guys, but that's fine. Another good thing is the dust extraction pipe has been reduced to this one single pipe. Those of you that may remember, I had a whole network of pipes here because my jointer was in this position here. They're all gone. One single pipe, so much better. The other thing I did was I moved the jointer. So the jointer, sorry, not the jointer, the thicknesser is on this side now, and the router table is on this side. That is much better as well. The only reason I did that was because, as you can see, the adjustment handle on this thicknesser is on that right hand side. And when I had it on this side of the table saw, it was a big problem because it was actually underneath part of the table and it was a real pain to adjust. So yeah, so I've moved the router table to here. That works fine there, no problem. And the thickness planer, having it here and out in the open, that outfeed part of the thickness planer used to be under the outfeed table on the other side, which, you know, I just worked around that. It was a bit of an issue, but I always just worked around it. But now it's all out in the open, so much easier to use, easier to adjust. It's just works much better. And the last thing that enabled me to do was my big bandsaw. It used to just sit in the middle of the workshop and I'd have to just basically walk around it all the time. Now it's got its own permanent spot there against that pillar between the two roller doors. And the bandsaw, as you know, because it's a bandsaw, it hardly takes up any space at all, so it doesn't restrict those doors much at all. And I've got it, finally got that plumbed in. That's connected to the dust extracting system now as well. I'll just show you here. Built a new blast gate for that. It's just got a flexible pipe, comes down. So there's the blast gate. Again, wired in with a micro switch, and that just runs up and over the top there and connects in over there. Oh, the other thing too I've got to mention is just the reduction in noise level. Having that dust extractor outside is so quiet in here. I can't hear the dust extractor. The noise of that is actually much lower than the noise that you get basically of the air being sucked through the tool. So yeah, so the only noise now is the air at the tool that I get. So that's, again, I just got to keep saying how much of a big difference that made to move the dust extractor outside. Anyway, that'll be it for now. This video is getting very, very long, 16 minutes so far for a single take. I think I'm doing well. I was quite worried about how that was going to go, but I seem to be doing okay. So what I'm going to do now is I'll just get back in front of the camera. Okay, so yeah, basically that's it. That's what's been going on with me. That's what's going to go on with me. Like I said, I'm still building and I'm still videoing. We'll just see what happens in the new year. So I'll just take this opportunity to say thank you to everybody for all the support and for all your patronage on the channel, for coming back to watch me. I really do appreciate it. I've had a bit of growth on the channel this year. It's probably not as much as I'd want. Looking at the stats just quickly, my subscriber growth this year was actually down 44% from 2017. So don't know what's going on there. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's just something with YouTube. Hopefully I'm putting out content that people want to watch, and look, I'll keep putting out content. For me, the things that I post are just things that I'm doing every day that I need to do or that people have asked me to do. Just whatever's going on in my workshop. I'm not one to jump on a trend and think I need to change what I do just to, you know, attract more people. If people like what I do and the way I present, then basically they'll just keep coming back, and I really, really do thank everybody for that. I wish everybody a Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and hope we all have an awesome New Year, and I will definitely see you in 2019. So until the next one, you guys all have a great day.